this is the real issue, is that we expect home prices to go up, right? Home prices have been going up for eons, okay? Every decade, there's always home prices that's going up. The problem is that the income is not keeping up with the rate, the percentage that these homes are starting to increase in price. People are becoming desperate when they're buying a home right now. It's getting very difficult right now to find affordable housing options, especially with the rising costs of rents. In this video, we're going to talk about some of the things that people are doing right now in this housing market to save as much as they can without having to compromise too much. Let's get right into it. So right now, as we know, the housing market is crazy, okay? And what I mean by that is interest rates are much more higher than what we expected them to be. The Fed doesn't look like they're cutting any rates anytime soon, unfortunately, if they cut any rates at all in 2024. Some of the experts are saying they may not even cut rates until 2025 with a possible one-time cut by the end of the year. But let's be honest. You got the wars that's going on, you got election season, and studies show that they've only done 3 rate cuts in American history during election season. So it's going to be kind of weird to see what ends up happening. But either way, how does it affect a lot of first-time home buyers? Not even first-time home buyers. There are some people right now that need to sell their home. But unfortunately, they're saying, hey, it's not best for me to sell because I can easily sell. I can get equity. I can get all those great things. But now I become a buyer in this same market, right? And so a lot of sellers are like, hey, especially if they're looking and they're in a position where they don't have like an in-between. There are some sellers, however, that say, hey, listen, I'm going to stay with my mom. I'm going to stay with my dad. I'm going to stay with my friends. I'm going to, find another living alternative, but I'm going to sell my house and then just wait for the market. Right. But a lot of people, unfortunately, they're not in that same position to do so. And because of that, they're finding themselves in desperate situations, like taking homes as is right now, or compromising on neighborhoods, compromising on distance, compromising on price, compromising all different types of things that they wouldn't necessarily compromise on. Now, don't get me wrong. First-time home buyers, if you're watching this, sometimes you do have to compromise, and there's nothing wrong with that. You may say, you know what, I can see myself in this neighborhood, but not for long. Or, hey, I can deal with this amount of bedrooms, but we want to grow this family, or whatever that may be for you. And there will be some sort of compromise in general. That's normal and natural when you're going into homeownership. But the thing is that a lot of people are not in a position where they can compromise that much because they're saying, man, I'm simply being priced out of this housing market. And here's the worst part. Prices aren't coming down anytime soon. They're already starting to slowly rise because all it takes is one house within a quarter mile in most cities to sell at a certain amount. Once it sells at that certain amount, that now changes the atmosphere for all the properties that are within that same area. And once that happens, you slowly start to get price increases over time. And then that's going to eventually throw the entire market off. Okay. And then you start having these overpriced homes. And here's the issue. This is the real issue, is that we expect home prices to go up, right? Home prices have been going up for eons. Okay. Every decade, there's always home prices that's going up. The problem is that the income is not keeping up with the rate, the percentage that these homes are starting to increase in price. So people are starting to say, okay, you know what? Outside of my compromise list, am I okay with maybe changing my loan, going from a regular FHA loan to a conventional loan? Or essentially saying, hey, like with the FHA appraisal, they're doing safety checks. They're making sure that the property is safe and sound, versus conventional. It's more like, hey, pick a house and here's the loan for it, right? But some people are actually going the 203K route. For those who don't know what an FHA 203K is, that's essentially when you are looking to buy a home and you're actually going to put a certain amount of money into that home for cosmetic repairs. Keyword is cosmetic, okay? So you can't get any luxury items. You can't get a hot tub, a basketball court, stuff like that, okay? But we're talking like, hey, this needs paint, let's paint it. This needs new trim, new doors, new kitchen, new bathroom, complete gut job, right? But there's a limit on how much you can actually do. And that's about $30,000, $35,000 in most situations. Now, there are times you can get a little bit more. You can also go conventional. They have a home style renovation loan. That's for conventional buyers. So it just really depends on what people are actually looking for and what you're willing to compromise on as well. But like we said, people are also compromising on things that they wouldn't normally compromise on, saying, hey, I'm considering this bad neighborhood, or I'm considering this far drive away just so I can be somewhere where I can afford to be. Or I'm okay with going with this condo, this townhome. This is what I tell people. Listen, you have to treat it like your first job, your first relationship, right? Your first car. More than likely, you don't have those anymore, right? I don't know about the relationship, but either way, I'm saying that to say the first house is not going to be the last house, right? And so you may have to compromise a little bit more now, but keep in mind, that was really going to happen in most people's cases anyway, even outside of this market, because we have like what we want, and then we have what things cost. And then it's usually new, especially for first-time home buyers, unless you are already paying, let's say, for example, $1,500 a month or $2,000 a month for a rent. And then you say, okay, this is my budget. And you say, okay, I can make this work. But if you're not able to make that amount of money work, then you say, okay, where do I draw the line? What things, can I have? What am I willing to make changes on? So just keep those things in mind. People are getting desperate. They're not the only ones doing it. A lot of people are doing this. And it's not just on the buying side, it's on the selling side as well. Because in certain neighborhoods, a lot of homes are not selling at a certain speed. So they're becoming desperate as well too. Like, hey, we'll pay a percentage of your closing costs. We'll make some repairs. We'll give you some money to kind of buy down your interest rate, right? Because some sellers, they have to sell. And right now, it's just not a ton of buyers. But right now, it's still a buyer's market, a lot more inventory out here than what there are for buyers. But depending on what kind of pocket that you're in, what kind of neighborhood that you're in, you may be in a situation where it's going to put you in a situation where you may have to become desperate on your side of things. And I won't say desperate, but you say, okay, I may have to step up and actually provide a little bit more than what I thought I was going to have to provide to sell this home. Okay. So if you like this video, you're most definitely going to love the next one, and we'll see you there.